Imagine a country bouncing back after everything seemed lost. Economist Milton Friedman once suggested that rapid growth often follows destruction. Japan embodies this idea. After unconditionally surrendering on August 14, 1945, World War II had taken a toll, claiming 2.6 to 3.1 million lives and 56 billion USD from Japan. Left with almost nothing, it's hard to fathom recovery. However, Japan defied the odds, and its economy bounced back with remarkable speed. But how did it achieve it, and what are the modern challenges it is facing? This is what we'll explore in today's video. The Japanese economy, ranked as the world's third largest based on GDP, operates within a market system that saw rapid growth in the decades after World War II. However, during the 1990s, Japan faced a long period of economic slowdown, with its growth rate noticeably lagging behind that of other industrialized nations. The growth of Japan's economy after the 1940s was driven by an unprecedented increase in industrial production, the creation of a big domestic market, and a strong export trade policy. Japan has successfully developed a varied economy, excelling as one of the global leaders in manufacturing and services. The country stands out as a major producer of motor vehicles, steel, and advanced technological goods, especially in the area of consumer electronics. In the 1980s, Japan's economy was the talk of the town, on the verge of surpassing the US as the world's biggest. However, a burst bubble in 1990, fueled by an acid boom in the 80s, caused Japan's economic growth to stumble. This stumble led to a drawn-out period of economic struggle and falling prices, aptly named the Lost Decade, which is extended to today. In response, the Bank of Japan and the Japanese government attempted various tactics to jumpstart the economy. For example, the bank pioneered quantitative easing, a strategy involving buying assets to push long-term interest rates near zero. The second Shinzo Abe administration, starting in 2012, introduced Abenomics, comprising three initiatives: an energetic monetary policy, increased government spending, and regulatory changes to boost trade and growth. Despite these efforts preventing a long-lasting recession or depression, they didn't quite lift Japan out of stagnation. Adding to the economic troubles, the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 and 2021 further battered Japan's economy. Real GDP, a measure of economic output, took a severe hit, plunging over 32% in the second quarter of 2020. While there was some recovery, with a modest 20% rise in the next quarter, subsequent quarters saw more restrained ups and downs. Before we delve into post-pandemic Japan, let's take a look at how some sectors of the economy have performed well. A key aspect of Japan's economic growth since World War II is the rapid advancement of manufacturing, showcasing progress in quantity, quality, variety, and efficiency. There's been a shift from lighter to heavier industries and a greater emphasis on processing. Consequently, certain traditional industries like lumber and wood processing, textiles, and food manufacturing have seen a significant decline in relative importance. Japan stands out globally as a major player in shipbuilding and automotive industries, producing essential goods such as crude steel, synthetic rubber, aluminum, sulfuric acid, plastics, cement, pulp and paper, various chemicals and petrochemicals, and textiles. The country boasts some of the world's largest and most advanced industrial facilities. In the late 20th century, remarkable growth was witnessed in the production of motor vehicles, iron, and steel, machinery including robots, and precision equipment, especially cameras. Later on, Japan gained recognition for cutting-edge electronic products like computers and microelectronics, telecommunications equipment, and consumer goods. Moreover, a notable aspect of Japan's economic progress post-World War II was the swift growth in international sales, even though the proportion of exports in the country's gross national product generally remained relatively stable. However, from the perspective of individual industries and as a catalyst for growth, exports hold more significance than their contribution to national income implies. Since the late 1960s, Japan has consistently maintained a trade surplus, often ranking as the world's largest. This remarkable export performance can be attributed to the diverse range of Japan's industrial output, the shift towards products with higher value added, the country's competitiveness in exports, and its dominant position in various industries. Nevertheless, Japanese exports encounter escalating challenges, primarily from strong competition from neighboring industrial giants like China, South Korea, and Taiwan, as well as Southeast Asian nations. Other contributing factors include protectionist sentiments among Japanese primary trading partners, currency valuation disparities involving the yen, and a decline in exports due to increased overseas production by Japanese companies. Additionally, the global economic downturn that commenced in 2007 and 2008 is significantly impacting Japan's exports, particularly in the motor vehicle sector. When it comes to public services, Japan has done well. Tokyo, one of the most crowded cities globally, boasts a top-notch metro system. However, the development of Japan's road network has not kept pace with the overall economic growth, especially considering the high number of cars. Building roads is challenging due to limited land space in comparison to the population. The first limited-access expressway opened in the early 1960s, and by the early 21st century, a growing network of such highways had been constructed across the country. Tokyo and Osaka's metropolitan regions have fairly extensive expressway networks within their built-up areas. Yet street patterns in Japanese cities vary and often impede traffic flow. Some cities like Kyoto and Nara still maintain the gridiron street pattern from ancient Chinese city plans. Looking ahead, Japan excels in telecommunications and postal services and is considered among the best globally. Even the remote villages in the mountains are effectively connected through these services. Japan leads the world in advanced telecommunications, including satellite and fiber optic transmission networks. While landline usage has decreased, mobile phone subscriptions have skyrocketed, and the use of personal computers and internet connections is nearly universal throughout the country. However, Japan has grappled with a significant challenge over the years: decades of deflation, a prolonged period marked by a general decline in prices. This has resulted in various economic issues, including stagnant wages and slow economic growth. Nevertheless, there are indications that Japan's economy might be on the upswing. A crucial indicator is the weighted median inflation rate, which surged to 2% in September, the highest level since comparable data became available in 2001. This rise is attributed to increasing energy and food prices, reflecting a broader trend of rising prices throughout the economy. Another positive sign is the robustness of the Japanese labor market. The unemployment rate is at a historic low, and wages are starting to increase. This is encouraging for Japanese consumers who've been hesitant to spend money in recent years due to deflation. While Japan's economy remains relatively sluggish compared to other major economies like the US, China, and India, there are indications of catching up. For instance, in the second quarter of 2023, the Japanese economy grew at an annualized rate of 3.5%, the fastest pace in over a year. On the other hand, the US economy is also experiencing strong growth, but inflation is a major concern. The US Federal Reserve is raising interest rates to curb inflation, potentially leading to a slowdown in the US economy in the coming months. Meanwhile, China faces several challenges, including a slowdown in the property market, prompting the Chinese government to implement stimulus measures to boost growth. India's economy is also growing rapidly, but it grapples with challenges such as rising inflation and a widening trade deficit. The Indian government is taking steps to address these issues, but the success of these measures remains uncertain. In summary, Japan's economic outlook is mixed. While there are signs of recovery, the economy still lags behind other major economies. There is another area, though, where Japan is making wonders. Japan's zoning system operates on a principle of measured tolerance, differing from the intricate zoning codes prevalent in many Western nations. Established by the City Planning Law of 1968, it adopts a nationally defined framework with local implementation, utilizing only 13 distinct land use zones. These range from low-rise residential to heavy industrial areas, simplifying regulations and promoting the intermingling of functions. Zones in Japan don't impose exclusive uses, but rather define maximum tolerable nuisance levels. This flexible approach encourages development that complements the existing character of the area while minimizing negative impacts on residents. Most projects within designated zones fall under as-of-right provisions, expediting development while ensuring conformity to planning objectives. The combined effect of these features results in vibrant, walkable cities, fostering pedestrian-oriented environments, and contributing to urban livability. Japan's zoning system also contributes to relatively affordable housing by optimizing land use and reducing regulatory hurdles. Mixed-use spaces encourage interaction between residents of different backgrounds, fostering community cohesion. But in today's world, Japan is dealing with some unique problems. For a long time, Japan looked to China for manufacturing, benefiting from its low-cost labor force. This helped Japan stay competitive globally, and China became a big market for Japanese products. However, things have changed. China's labor is not as cheap anymore due to its own labor shortages, making it less advantageous for Japan. In 2018, China's manufacturing labor costs were $5.51 per hour, higher than $4.45 in Mexico and $2.73 in Vietnam. Tensions between Japan and China over issues like China's activities in the South China Sea have also risen. Another challenge is Japan's demographics. Since the 1970s, there's been a significant drop in birth rates, resulting in fewer young people entering the workforce. This affects the country's productivity. The lack of young workers combined with longer lifespans creates an unfavorable dependency ratio. This ratio, showing the number of people contributing to the Social Security Fund compared to those collecting from it, leads to deficits. In 2022, Japan had to allocate 660 billion yen to cover a shortfall in the Social Security Fund funded by issuing debt. Japan's national debt is currently at 266% of GDP, the highest among developed nations. Overall, despite challenges, Japan is doing well and even outperforming many European and Western countries. The country is facing issues like changes in its relationship with China and demographic concerns, but overall, Japan's economy is showing strength and adaptability. This puts Japan in a good position compared to several European and Western nations, showing its ability to handle challenges and grow. So, what are your thoughts? And if you like the video, do subscribe to the channel for more updates. And don't forget to check out our video on the Philippines economy.